Hello, I'm Sam Battle and I do videos on YouTube under the name Look Mum No Computer. I was born in Grantham. I didn't live there for that long. I can't remember it. I was only a baby, but then I went over to Peterborough, and as I was growing up, I just liked tinkering with toys and things, taking things apart. My dad used to fix cars in the garage, so I used to watch him fixing the cars, and I kind of learnt how to make things work and how to repair things. Never really any formal training in this sort of stuff. I just sort of jumped in the deep end, really. I found myself getting into vintage electronics and equipment probably because of that time it was available in things like charity shops and things like that. Second-hand toys and things that you could take apart. It was quite cheap to get your hands on it. I just liked the way it all worked. It's very hands-on. Its purpose is very limited. It's not like a phone where you could do everything on a single thing. It's built for purpose, and that's what I like about older machines. Currently based in South England, Kent, Ramsgate to be precise, and we are currently in the museum. This museum is Not Obsolete, where Joan's organ is situated. So this museum is Not Obsolete is a museum that I started about 4 years ago now. I've always wanted to open a museum. My grandparents were trustees of a lighthouse museum in Wivensea. Wivensea Lighthouse is still running. Really interesting museum, but when I was a kid in summer holidays and stuff, when my parents dumped me on my grandparents' doorstep, I ended up being my granddad's right-hand man, going very early in the morning and fixing something like the burglar alarm in the lighthouse. It's pitch black, and just seeing a museum not when it's open is amazing, and it made a lasting impression that made me realise that I could one day open a museum, and it's amazing, it's mad. And there's all manner of things. There's telephone exchanges, synthesizers, lots of historic items, and it's always growing and evolving. I was making things like the 1000 oscillator Megadrome, which is actually over there. There's the Furby organ that is over there. That was quite a bit of a big build. Game Boy Mega machine. There's all manner of machines that I've built. Smaller things like Fart Box, which is an analog synthesizer designed to simulate farts. Very useful. Teletubby tidal wave. You name it, there's loads of random things. And actually, probably the most poignant one that I did to do with organs before that was the flamethrower organ. It kind of gave me a crash course in understanding the functional dynamics of an organ. Having not been to theatres and stuff when the pipe organs and stuff were in their prime, I never really saw organs in other places. In fact, I've only really learnt that organs lived in theatres and cinemas and things like the pizza place. Where I'm from anyway, at least, it's usually always in a church. The organ world was quite a mystery. I mean, it still is to some extent, but it's a lot of things that I jump into. I don't really know much about it, and I kind of underestimate how involved it actually is. I was in the museum, and we were talking about using an air compressor to make the flamethrower organ work. And I found myself looking on eBay for a second-hand organ, and then Joan's organ came up on eBay, and it was like, that sounds like a fun project. Somebody was selling the house where Joan lived, and the organ was still upstairs, and it went viral because, of course, there was a whole organ in the top floor of a terraced house. We managed to hit a deal. It wasn't a massive amount of money. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was. To be honest, I didn't really realise that usually these kind of things, they usually get given away and whatnot, and it's fine. In fact, the seller afterwards actually mentioned, it's like, if I knew what you were going to do with this, I probably would have just given you it and let you go. But so initially I think I paid £300 or £400, which is arguably the scrap value of all the lead. It was a real big challenge to actually pull it apart, because personally I'd never handled organ pipes. I knew they were made of lead and things like that, to be careful, and they were very soft, but I never actually dealt with it. So I did a bit of crash course and trying to figure out how to do it, and me and my friend Johnny, we drove over to Bristol, which is on the other side of England, and we pulled it out of the top floor in a whole day. 12 hours later, there was a back of a van completely full of church organ. It was huge. I don't think I was expecting it to really be as big as it was. something in my head was thinking, oh, we could get out in a few hours, but yeah. And there's shots of me chopping through the cables. I didn't really realise there was going to be that many cables, so we didn't bring a cable cutter, just brought a hacksaw. And there was a lot of comments initially in the video and in the project being like, oh, you don't know what you're doing, you're an idiot, don't do it like that, blah de blah. And this happened in quite a lot of projects that I take on. When I started looking into synthesizers and telecommunications and telephone exchanges, a lot of people from that niche really didn't like me, kind of my approach to it. I come across sometimes like a little bit of an idiot on the internet. And I can empathise, and I can understand at the start of the project, there was a lot of people saying, you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't do that, please do not do this, you don't know what you're doing, leave it to professionals, blah, 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 blah. However, with the magic of gaffer tape, it solves everything. I've turned the C sharp into a C. But needless to say, I had it making music within a week. Yes. Not perfect. And then, yeah, as time went on and the videos kind of progressed, the negative comments of me being an idiot and shouldn't be attempting organs, luckily that's sort of died down. It was been a long journey. I built it over a year and a half. I basically modernized it. I took away the old electronics, which was all single notes going to the relay boxes, the relay computers of the organ. Removed those because they were far too finicky. I modernised it with a circuit board I designed that I put into every single wind chest that you could plug a MIDI cable in. For one of the videos in the Jones organ project, I incorporated the modular synthesizer with the organ, played them together because both of them respond to MIDI. Playing them together is, yeah, it's nice. You get two different styles of sound. Sometimes it's a little bit too much, sometimes a little bit too little, but also mixing it with a Game Boy. So I used a Game Boy with MIDI output to control the organ as well, and then mixing in the Game Boy synth sounds with the organ. It's quite fun. If you are somebody like myself who just wants to get something working, an organ that is necessarily not the best organ in the world, and you just want to get it going, that's what I'm trying to do with my videos, is to show that even if you are just somebody that hasn't got a clue, if you have enough persistence and want to do it, you can do it, and it's fine to do that. The organ hasn't always been here. The church organ hasn't always been here, for instance. And there obviously was a maker community in a time to progress the technology from pneumatic to electro-pneumatic and the direct relays. That's always been developments on the organ design. So there is still space for development and space for people from the maker community to improve the pipe organ. It's been a very fun project, and I have learnt an awful lot about organs and the organ world, and it certainly won't be the last organ project I undertake. In the future, I'm hoping to get the organ and all of the other machines, the electromechanical percussive items and things. So I've got this other Compton console. We're going to midify that, and then that is going to control Jones organ, it's going to control the Compton organs, it's going to control all of their percussion. There is another project at the minute called Mr. Stockdale's organ. It's the Theatrone, Stockdale's Theatrone, and this is all this blue stuff that we've got hold of. It includes the Compton organ, it includes Leslie speakers, it includes xylophones, glockenspiels, tubular bells, all of those things. So all of this stuff, and hopefully it's all just going to work together and be a lovely musical room and a great part for the museum. One of the reasons I did this YouTube series on this thing was because I realised for myself there was not really that much information available in the way that I digest information to learn, like YouTube videos and things like that. It kind of hopefully connects with the younger generation, younger than myself as well. Kind of advice for this stuff is, like I've said it again and I'll say it, it's just don't be afraid to try it. Don't be scared to try it. Like, you can surprise yourself. If you want to do these things, just give it a go. And don't let other people scare you off, but also have the tenacity to keep at it. Keep on going, keep on cracking.